In this video, I want to talk about the link between trauma, spiritual experience, and spiritual awakening. I know it can be really hard to grasp because there's a lot of difficulty in this topic, but I'm going to break it down for you in a really simple fashion. So trauma can make you stop on a dime and question your spirituality, your religious beliefs, your purpose here. It's heavy, it's life-changing, and I get it. It's exactly what happened to me on my path. My spiritual awakening was actually catalyzed by a really traumatic life event, one where my entire life fell apart, had to do with losing a loved one very tragically, had to do with the ending of a marriage. It was like a freaking atom bomb went off in my life. And it wasn't the first time something like that had happened. I felt like something had to be more meaningful than the trauma that I was going to. So I went on a journey to find a deeper meaning to the trauma because I decided I did not want to be stuck in it. I didn't want to be identified in it. I wanted to find out what the purpose of this trauma was in my life. And it's what led me to where I am today on my spiritual journey. And I want to help you do the same. So the first thing to do when you're looking at trauma is to try to find a deeper meaning to it. Like I talked about when I went through my life trauma, it's like you can get really, really stuck there and identify with it. So the first step is looking at what can be a deeper meaning. Even though you may have lost someone really close to you, you may have gotten a diagnosis, you may have had a huge life change, and it's always something you were never expecting. But I can tell you 100%, these are the very things that have propelled people into lives of profound meaning and purpose and success that are based on turning that pain into purpose. And this is looking at the meaning. What on earth could come out of what happened to you after you get past the trauma? Now, first of all, I want to tell you, I'm a trained therapist and I do believe in trauma recovery. So if you've had a traumatic event and you're still stuck in the really, really dense grief stage and you can feel it really intensely in your body, please get the help that you need. Please go to a trained clinician, do energy work on your body and work that trauma energy out so that you can find your way further along your spiritual path. But you got to do that work first so that you can get healthy on a physical level. So every single thing that you experience is called into your life to help you grow. And I know that's really hard to grasp in extreme experiences like extreme loss or abuse. Believe me, I've been through it all. I've weathered it all. I was in the victim mode for years. And what changed my life is the moment I decided I don't want to be tied to the trauma anymore. I want to move on and I want to find this deeper meaning. So the word alchemy is what came into my life, and it's something that I want to tell you about. The word alchemy was created when mystical teachers used to turn non-precious metals into gold and really precious metals. So basically when you're alchemizing something, you're taking it from something that doesn't really have much meaning or much use, and you're turning it into something that has a greater meaning, greater value. So you've heard that word a lot. It's trending lately to alchemize your life. So what we want to do is alchemize those emotions through your life. So I stand on the teaching that when we awaken, we're always called to alchemize, and it's usually something in trauma before we can actually activate our spiritual body on a higher level. If you're being called to alchemize your trauma, the beautiful news is that you're being called to activate your spirit on a higher level. And the way that you do that is through getting healing work, is through doing your meditation, is through asking spirit to lead you and to guide you, feeling the feelings, getting the support that you need, and working it through instead of shoving it down, pretending like it didn't happen, or staying in victim mode where you're always blaming your past for what happened, or deciding that you're just going to quit life and stay in bed and all those things, which if that's your choice, like no judgment, but if you're being called to activate your spiritual path on a higher level, this alchemy process is necessary and it's beautiful. Yes, it can be hard because it can mean a lot of ugly tears and a lot of questioning the universe and all that. But the great thing is, this is kind of like the butterfly's journey, the caterpillar to butterfly journey. So as the caterpillar starts, the caterpillar eats and eats and eats and eats and eats, and it's living this best life. And then it goes through this, actually it's a very traumatic shift into the butterfly because it goes into this chrysalis period where actually it digests its own body. It's cataclysmic, it's traumatic. A lot of the caterpillars don't make it past the stage of the chrysalis, but what happens in that stage is the caterpillar actually breaks down, it decomposes, it eats away at its own composition to reform itself into the butterfly, which then, can you have a better metaphor for coming out of trauma, this butterfly, this beautiful creature that emerges? So that's the path that you are on. If you can find your way, not if, when you find your way to healing, find your way to alchemizing, and it doesn't have to take forever, friend. The energy that's on the planet right now, the way that I'm experiencing it, this process can be sped up. I don't want you to skip over your trauma healing. I want you to make sure that you're doing that and that you're validating the emotions, you're validating your story. But once you get past the need to tell your story and you want to move forward, know that you're moving from that chrysalis stage into the butterfly stage, because what then emerges If you had stayed a caterpillar forever, you just would have been a caterpillar. But because of this cataclysmic event, you're going to emerge into something much more powerful and much more beautiful than you ever would have been before. Before I go on and share with you 2 very powerful ways you can turn your trauma into purpose, if you like this material, go ahead and click the like button. That would really help me out. And if you love these videos and you want more from me about the spiritual awakening path, click the subscribe button, because I'm going to be dropping videos like this every week to help you along your journey. Back to the video. So a powerful thing to remember, if this feels right to you, is that as you continue on with your life, part of your meaning may be to help others who are going to go through the same trauma that you experienced in your life. And that is really turning your pain into purpose. So I knew that that was part of my purpose after going through divorce, significant loss, significant pain and betrayal and childhood abuse and all of those things. I was walking one day when I was going through my kind of spiritual transitioning period, questioning the universe, and I had my golden retrievers with me by the Chattahoochee River in Atlanta. And I was sitting down, I was broken, totally broken. I was questioning God. I literally thought that God had forgotten about me. I thought that I just got left off the list of Christians that were gonna get all the good things to happen to them, because that's what we're taught in the church, right? I was sitting there with my dogs. It was around November and all the leaves had fallen and everything was crushed up on the ground around me. I went way off the trail and I sat just bawling like a baby as the dogs sniffed around me. So as I looked around, I felt this voice come from my spirit, and it said, Karin. It was the voice of God, and it said, Karin, look around at all that has been dead and dying around you. That is how you feel right now. Like I felt emotionally dead. And the voice gave me this knowing that was from these ashes in your life, from this deconstruction that is all around you, that's gonna be the reason that you're gonna have a new life. You're gonna have a rebirth. The image that I got was how, leaves become the fertilizer for the next season's new growth, the next season's rebirth. And that was the metaphor that God, that Spirit gave me, was this all knowing. Now this was 20 years ago, okay, when I had my first divorce. And I went to a severe state of depression, all the things. And I had this profound sense of knowing, I'm gonna be helping people through darkness. I'm gonna be helping this darkness that I am feeling, I'm gonna be turning into rebirth. I'm gonna be turning into new life. I'm gonna be transitioning the dark into the light. Now look, I've had this spiritual path for all these years, and I've gotten the training and I've done the research and I've had the experiences that have led me here. But you, my friend, can be on a path that can be accelerated, because the energy right now that we're experiencing is allowing you to find that awareness and that purpose much sooner. So if this is resonating with you, start asking to be shown the way to help other people. Now I want to give you a little caveat here, and that is not to share, I think this is from Brene Brown, not to share the wound when it is in the wound period, but to share it when you're in the scar tissue period. So make sure you do your work, and when you're ready to go out there and help other people, and you want to tell your story, tell it when the suffering period has ended and when you felt strong enough again to have insight and realize the power and the meaning that it has in your life. So through all of this, I want you to remember, pain is inevitable. Trauma, inevitable. Shit's gonna happen, we're calling it in, that's what I believe anyway. Things are gonna happen as we're growing, especially if you really wanna have a higher spiritual path. Those tend to be the people that go through a lot of dark nights of the soul. But if you can remember that while pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice. Staying in the victim mode is a choice. That is when you have the most power in your life. That is when you can find healing very, very quickly, when you know in any moment that you start to go back to that old narrative, that you're attached to that trauma and that life's never gonna be good, and you realize that you have control over your life. You realize that there's a greater purpose to come out of it. Start asking God, start asking Spirit to show you the steps. Just take this simple prayer as you walk throughout your day. Just say to Spirit, show me the way. Show me the next steps. And just take one step at a time, because honey, what is waiting for you is more powerful than anything you can ever imagine. If this video really resonated with you about the spiritual path and you got kind of lit up about turning your pain into purpose, I've got a free masterclass for you. We're going to be talking about the 3 keys to activating your rebel soul. And your rebel soul is that part of you that doesn't want to be tied to the past anymore, but that wants to make a shift and create something new. So if you click the link below, you'll be directed to the information on the masterclass. Totally free. I can't wait to see you there.